Oh man, guys. Well, let me know what you thought about the debate tonight. I'm gonna be honest with you, and I'm gonna try to keep this as short as possible. I think it was a bunch of noise. I don't think anybody from either side that was watching this learned anything that they didn't know. I don't think anybody would really feel like swayed either way. Trump did what Trump does, but it wasn't as good as his debate versus Biden. It wasn't as good as his debate versus Clinton. Kamala, she just a lot of from the very beginning they asked, are we better off, is the economy better off than it was 4 years ago? She just went to rambling. It was a yes or no thing. Trump asked about, ask her if she'll have abortions at 6 months, 7 months. She didn't answer. And then, what sucks is I just wish that they would have neutral moderators who are going to push back on Kamala the same way that they were pushing back on Trump. They gave her a little pushback here or there. Obviously, they've heard the backlash, but it was clear that it was bias. It always seems like Trump has to debate, Biden, Harris, and whoever's moderating the debate. You know what I'm saying? It's always like he's kind of outnumbered, and they're kind of, obviously they lean that way. So I just don't think anybody was really swayed. I think the most important thing that I would stress using my platform is, for Christians and people who aren't Christian, do the research for yourself. The sad reality is there's too many people that are not informed. There's too many people that, number one, they're not going to do their due diligence and research for themselves, right? The truth is out there. They're just going to believe what the false media tells them, false prophet media tells them. Uh, some people are not even going to watch the whole debate all the way through to even form their own opinion. They're going to go to the Instagram stories. They're going to go to social media. They're going to see people post clips like, oh, well, Kamala won, well, Trump won. And they're just going to go with it, right? Little short 30-second clip, and an opinion that they heard instead of actually. That's why so many people, when you ask, hey, why are you voting for Kamala? What has she done? You see interview after interview, they can't give you answers. And so it just, man, I had sent what I felt that God had gave me when I prayed about it to people that are connected with Trump. Come to find out, another pastor actually sent the same exact thing, that he just can't take the bait, right? With all the name calling and things like that, and just stick to policies, stick to talking what is broken in America and overseas with the border. And he did some of that, and he did it pretty good today. But it was stuff like most people, if you're supporting Trump, you already know these things. And then a lot of people, I don't feel like anybody was really swayed either way. Let me know what you guys think about that in the comments. So I don't know. I came down here afterwards. I'm just like, just a bunch of noise. Like it's like a show. And I guess the saddest thing about it is there was a lot of lies that were spoken. The whole Project 2025 thing. If somebody watched that debate for the first time, you keep hearing her say that, it's like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And then when he said he had nothing to do with it, you're like, oh well, now he's saying that. He's been saying that. And that's my point about doing your due diligence, doing your own research. I remember many years ago they were talking about the whole cages thing, and I had to go pull it up and show people Obama was putting, the people in the board at cages like this. People, it just wasn't a topic that got brought up. And so there's a lot of stuff that's happening that, the media uh they don't bring up until it's convenient, right? I seen the other day there was this woman in California. She was a Democrat, then she switched over to being Republican, and then what, a month later, some kind of weird, she got some kind of sexual harassment kind of charge that came out. And I feel like, me personally, was like, it only came out because she switched sides. Like all of a sudden, let's get her. And we saw that with the Biden Hunter laptop thing, right? It's like the same way that they were kind of trying to help Kamala a little bit and not be as obvious with it, the same way that they did with Biden and things like that. You see, she had the smaller, tiny desk because she didn't want to look small next to Trump. Same way they took the audience out the crowd. You know what I'm saying? Um, they covered. They did. If it was Trump's son that stuff had happened, that stuff would have been 24/7 mainstream news. So it's just. The Bible talks about strong delusion. At the end of the day, God is in control. You guys know what I believe as a Christian. right? Obviously, we see the abortion thing, we see the LGBTQ thing, we see the lawlessness. We know these are signs of the end times. But then also, just from a wisdom perspective, the stuff that's happening with the borders, the inflation. I just feel like you really got to do your due diligence, man. Due diligence at this point. You got to be careful with the media, whether it's the big news, whether it's social media, even me talking about this now. Like, my advice to you is really just dig deep. It's sad to me when I talk to some people, like how uninformed they are. It's like just regurgitated talk, well, Trump is, racist and things like that. And it's like, well, why wasn't he racist all these years ago? Why didn't nobody say anything? Why didn't they mind? It's like that narrative didn't come out until he decided to run Republican. So I'm not going to get into all that. We've been talking about that stuff for years. But I do believe that, America, I was saying this 10, 12, 13 years ago, like, a collision is coming. And we keep having these smaller collisions. And then you see cancel culture was birthed. Like, hey, if you don't use my pronouns, we're going to throw you in the fire. If you, are for Israel or you're for this, like everybody, it's like politics has gotten to this crazy place where like people are literally going crazy, right? They tried to actually even take Trump out. Like, that's how crazy it's getting. And I believe that, it's going to get worse because I saw this Charlie Kirk, versus what it was like 25 woke students. They were all sitting in a circle and like he's debating them and you just see like the truth make some of these people manifest. Like they just get so angry, like, and it's scary because like a lot of these people, they believe that they're right and they're crazy. You can't define what a woman is. And it's like that when you see how mad and angry they get, like imagine putting people like that into positions of power as judges and lawyers and police or whatever else you want to, putting them in any kind of position of authority and power with that kind of mindset. And that's what's going on in our colleges and university. They're just brainwashing these people. So it makes me sad, for the world that my kids are going to grow up in. But I'm praying, and we know that God is in control at the end of the day. Whatever God allows to happen, I have my own, personal ideas that I've shared with you guys. But whatever God allows to happen, He's in control. He raises up kings, He tears them down, and the church, we gonna rock out regardless. It's just my opinion that when you see all the evidence, right, and you weigh it righteously, I don't see how a Christian can vote Democrat. And I've said that. I stand on that. I don't apologize for that. And we have the options that we have, and I believe that God allowed it to be that way because you have to see it in the spirit. You have to see it through the lens of the word. Because if you're just looking at the people, it's you're gonna you have to look at it from that principle perspective and that spiritual perspective of what is happening. Like everything the Bible said would happen is happening. The direction that we're going. So as a Christian, I just can't support that stuff, that antichrist stuff. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Go to www.marcusrogersministry.org if you want to support what we're doing here in Chicago. Oh, by the way, I had a debate tonight. It was supposed to be a conversation. Post it for you guys tomorrow. We'll give it some commentary. It was me and Preston Perry, Jackie Hill's husband. Hey, respect him for being willing to have the conversation. A lot of people don't even want to have the conversation. And so, respect to him. We'll post that tomorrow. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. Like I said, I believe it was just noise. Nobody was really going to be swayed either way. If you were voting Democrat, you're probably still voting Democrat. If you're voting Republican, you're probably still voting Republican. So my advice with my platform is just make sure, especially Christians, do your due diligence. Don't allow what you choose or what you do to be based off of peer pressure, skin color, or what the media is saying. Look up the facts, ask the Holy Spirit to guide you, and then make your decision based off that. Love you guys. Be blessed. Have a wonderful evening in Jesus' name.